Hello, good morning, Dr. Bello in the house. I would like to talk about sublimation, the psychological coping strategy. It's one of the mature psychological coping strategies. It is described as expressing a negative impulse in a socially acceptable and productive manner. I encourage my clients to keep a journal that helps them review their life experiences in an objective manner. Myself, I found myself writing an 80,000 plus word manuscript. I'm looking to publish a novel. I started by writing a story inspired by the clients I have met, but inevitably ended up writing mostly about my immediate family and community's experience with mental health. Um, the WWE persona will be adopting today to promote this message is Nature Boy himself, Ric Flair. Woo! Because you can't help but shout, woo! When you gain insight into one's mental health experience. When we write, document our own experiences, we experience emotional release and also gain insight into the um, challenge we are going through, which usually is on the path to resolution of whatever conflict we're on. The general public that will become aware of this account also can partake and will partake in the insight to the mental health challenge. So it's a win-win situation for all involved. I wanted to write about my clients, but to provide them with some confidentiality, with significant confidentiality. I cited the story 200 years back in, say, 1803. I did that to draw attention to the fact that our forebears were bedeviled with mental health challenges too. There's a misconception that mental health experience or challenge is a recent development. It is not. I did not meet my father's mother, my grandma, but from my father's account, I could make out that she had an acute case of mysophobia, that is germophobia. She was afraid of germs, which is also related to hypochondriasis, which is an anxiety, and a form of which are all anxiety disorders related to the fear of um, illness. So she was known as the cleanest woman in the village. However, she was married into a family of hunters, and my father, her only child for a long time, spent a lot of time with his grandfather, my great grandfather, in the bush. And he would return back to his mom, my grandmother, dirty. And she didn't like that. She didn't like it much more that he was not disturbed as much as she was by it. And so this led to a lot of conflict and leading to my dad spending more time with my grandfather. He, he yeah. So her mysophobia was intense, but it was not enough to keep her from nursing him when he was afflicted, when he was stricken with smallpox. She was asked not to nurse him, especially as she, especially as it was recognized that smallpox was a more difficult experience for adults. But she could not help but nurse him into recovery. She um, inevitably contracted it and subsequently died. And she left behind my grandfather, my father, and a baby girl that needed nursing. The baby girl died soon enough as there was no milk to nurse her. This was back in the late 1940s. Yes. The long point I'm making with that story is that we've had challenges in the past that we can learn from, especially if we document them. The scourge that was smallpox. Well, the last documented case was in 1977, and the world has been declared smallpox free since 1980. And it was only achieved, it was only possible through a vaccination program. Vaccines work. So back to my exercise in sublimation. I started the stories inspired by my clients back in 1803. I made an effort to compare their psychological preoccupation of the people in 1803 with the psychological preoccupation of our people in this present time. I asked the question, what were they most concerned about? What were they most afraid of? That's the realization that individuals, that most people have a negative bias. Most people's lives are shaped by the things they are afraid of more than the things they are happy with. So I came to the realization that people from 200 years ago were concerned about being kidnapped as the most significant socioeconomic construct of their time was the transatlantic slave trade. This meant a significant risk of losing their freedom or being kidnapped in 1803. This insight made me shout, "Woo!" like a deflated Ric Flair. That we had this sad similarity with our forebears is not good. It appears that the same pit our forebears fell into, we have found ourselves in. I've encountered several clients who were recently released from captivity following being kidnapped. In one particular week, I saw two different individuals. It was a jarring experience for me. I'm also aware of a certain senior colleague in Ogun State who had been kidnapped multiple times within a short period. He was kidnapped 3 times within a 2-year period. I have a friend whose father-in-law was never released after the ransom was paid for to the kidnappers. This was about 10 years ago. We have a problem. We need to ascertain the size of this problem before an adequate solution can be proffered. Regarding this, we have developed a questionnaire that we hope to use to ascertain the size of this problem. You may find it attached on this video, or visit our website at www.lifeamada.ng www.lifeamada.ng. There is a need to recognize the difficulties people are going through, to empathize by creating avenues by which these difficulties can be recognized, can be acknowledged, and solutions proffered. An article by Post Nigeria stated that within the 1-year period in 2023, that about 4,000 people, actually 3,600 people were kidnapped, and 5 billion naira was demanded as ransom, with about 360 million naira paid out. We here at Life Amada Health Consultancy are sponsoring mental health support for 20 individuals who had recently regained their freedom following being in captivity. There is an unhealthy tendency to ask them to continue their lives without the relevant support. In time, we hope to offer more. Thank you. The questionnaire that I had mentioned earlier will help us identify these individuals. So please fill the questionnaire and share it with people in your contacts.